Welcome to the Port City Plate Podcast, presented by Bienville Bites Food Tour. The Port City Plate Podcast, serving up the food, history, and people of Mobile, Alabama for people who love the Port City. I'm your host, Chris Andrews, and so excited. Back again in the studio today, and we got an awesome episode. You know, summertime in Mobile, and today's episode features one of the most unique places in Mobile for a treat. Jefe Paletas is located in West Mobile, Cottage Hill Road, right there near University, and Fabian Leon is the owner there, doing incredible things and doing things that nobody else in Mobile is doing. And so I'm excited about this episode a lot. So Fabian, welcome to the Port City Plate Podcast.
Thank you so much, Chris, for having me. It's a blessing for sure. I've always wanted to let people know what Jefe Paletas is all about, and I'm glad you have me here.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We're definitely.
Thanks,
I think after this one, people are gonna be coming out there, no doubt about it.
Appreciate it.
So I guess my first question for you is, I did a little research on how to pronounce it. Still botched it. But what is the, here in South Alabama, what is the worst mispronunciation that you've heard?
One time I heard a lady say Jefe Paletas, and I was like, okay. And it's funny because a lot of people call me Jeff.
Do they?
They think it's Jeff. They're like, hey Jeff, are you Jeff? And I'm like, no, my name's Fabian. But then I explain it to them. I've had one of the funnier stories is I had these. Actually, 3 times this happened to us. We had 2 calls one time where some ladies called and they're like, hey, when are your Pilates classes? And I was like, no, we don't. We definitely don't do. We're the exact opposite. You gain calories with us. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then I had. The funniest one is 2 ladies actually walked in their gym uniform, like gym clothes, and they were like, where are the Pilates classes at? I'm like, oh, no. So you guys are way off. Like, no, I'm so sorry. And that's well, whenever you want to come back, definitely come back and get a popsicle. And they were just like, oh, okay. And
that's great.
That was funny. That was really, really funny. I never thought that would happen, but like that when I thought about the name, I never thought that would ever happen. But hey.
So what is the name? What's the story behind it?
So it's Jefe Paletas. It means boss popsicles. The story behind the name is pretty simple. When we were thinking about it, I remember it took us a while because it's funny when you're thinking about the name of something, you got to think about everything. I was like, the name has to be marketable for sure. I can't just be like, oh, like put this generic name and expect it to be marketable. This one was, I thought about the name and then I thought about the design of the logo for sure. So when I was thinking about it, we thought about easily like 20 different names. And Jefe Paletas was not in any of them. And I was like, man, it just doesn't click. It's like, it's not marketable. It's something has to come up. And then someone was wearing a shirt. It said Jefe. And I was like, that name sounds cool. And then like a popsicle popped up in my head with a little crown and a mustache. And I was like, okay, perfect. That's it. And that's where I got it from. I mean, I just saw it on a shirt. And that's where it came. It's not like a huge, unique story. But yeah, I was like, I had to think of it. It had to be like marketable. And it had to be something that grabbed your attention. Because a lot of people have come in and they're like, oh, I like your logo. It's really good. Yeah, it's different. It's clean. It's simple. But it definitely grabs your attention.
And it's strong, too. Yeah. It's a strong name.
Yep.
So tell me about your background. Like, where'd you from? Where are you from? Are you from here?
No, I'm actually originally from Jalisco, Mexico.
Okay.
It's where Mexico kind of curves. It's on the Pacific side. And I came here when I was 6 months old.
Okay.
My parents are from Jalisco as well, but we actually came to U.S. to Atlanta. We came to Atlanta because my dad he worked in a restaurant in Atlanta. I'm not sure if it's still open. It was over maybe 31 years ago, or 32. It was called El Toro. I think it might still be there, but it was an old restaurant. And he worked there for like, I think we were there for maybe like 2 months, I believe. I might be wrong. I probably got to fact check that with my parents, but they got an opportunity to open a restaurant here in Mobile. I'm not sure how many Mexican restaurants were here when they decided to do that. But from my understanding, I think there was El Chico's that was on I-65. And then there was, I think, Sabor a Mexico that's on Airport. I think it's Sabor a Mexico or Rancheros. It might be Sabor a Mexico. And they got an opportunity. They opened what now is called El Giro Mexican restaurant. It's on Highway 90, the government. And that one, they branched out to open up to, I think it was 3 of them. But now there's only one. The one on Highway 90 burnt down it was in December. I remember it was like, I think it was before Christmas when it burned down. That was probably like in 2011, I think, or something like that. And they just ended up having just that one El Giro. And then my parents, before that one burned down, they opened La Cocina. That's where most of their time is spent. You know, they're mostly in La Cocina. That's on Airport, you know, near the Chick-fil-A, near the Juicy Seafood. That's where basically I grew up most of the time. Like I waited tables there, I bussed, I washed dishes, I did everything there. You know, like I always tell people, there was no when you're a business owner, small business owner, there's no labor loss for you. You know, it's like, hey, the dad makes you, or your mom. My mom used to make us go to the restaurant, go wash dishes, especially during the summer. So we go wash dishes, we go help clean tables, we go we do everything, everything. And then we just basically grew up there in La Cocina, and definitely it inspired me to maybe one day say, oh, I want to open my own business, but I really wanted to open a Mexican restaurant. I went to culinary school. I went to when Virginia College was still here.
Okay.
I went to their 1 year program. I remember before that I was actually going to go to the Art Institute in Charlotte, and that was like a big deal because I was like, oh man, I was really excited, this and that. And then when you start seeing the numbers, like how expensive that is, I was like, you know what? And then some lady came in and she's like, oh, we're opening in Virginia College, this and that. You should try it. And I did. Everything was really nice. Brand new kitchens, everything was pristine. And, so I decided to go there because it was essentially cheaper. And, they showed me the basics. I learned a lot, which is good. Learning the basics is really good. And I branched off from there, working in my dad's kitchen. I was, I guess you could say, the head chef from I think it was 2011 to maybe 15, 16? And then from there, I started bartending, managing the front of the house and stuff like that. So we started doing all that. And, and one day I just noticed that every time that, when I got married in 2014 to my wife, Viridiana. We, like when you get married, your life is totally different. It's like I was so used to just being in the restaurant and just on the weekends I'd go play soccer and just do that. But when you get married, you have a family now. It's you and your wife, and you have to dedicate time to her. So when we had our first kid, his name's Maximiliano. That was in 2019. I started noticing that I would always get home late. I never noticed it when it was just me and her, but I was like, man, I'm getting home late. I don't get to spend time with my son.
Yeah, he's asleep when you get home, right?
He was asleep. And, I just was like, you know what? I want to open something that, first and foremost, like, I can get home early and spend time with my family. that was very important to me. And then a place that I could say my faith started growing when I was when we had our son. That's when I started to truly say, you know what, I need to depend more on the Lord. And there was things that I was doing that I knew that didn't honor God. So I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna honor God, I want to honor Him fully. So I want a business that'll honor Him too. So, and that was one of the things. That was a huge decision maker on that actually helped me actually make that decision to something that'll honor God, a place for families, a place that that is unique to the area, and that I could get home early, and spend time with my family, and that was that was actually the biggest reason I opened that place up. And one of the inspirations was, I remember we used to go to Mexico. When we go to Mexico in the summers, there was this place called La Michoacana. That one's like, if you know any Mexican, even any Hispanic, and you say, oh, La Michoacana, it'll click in their heads, and they'll be like, oh, that's a popsicle place, ice cream shop. They're in, I always tell people, if you go to Mexico, you got to go deep into Mexico. Maybe now they're more popular, but when I was a kid, you have to go deep into Mexico, and you would see those places like in corners, like in downtown areas. And they were really cool because they didn't have like normal doors. They were garage doors. So like they would open up, and they would be open in all the two corners. And you could just come in, and they would have assorted flavors of popsicles, aguas frescas, ice creams, fresas con crema, and it was just overwhelming. And it was like, and I remember my go-to pop when I was younger, it was a lime popsicle. I love that thing. I love sour stuff. Till this day, I love sour stuff, but now I'm more of the creamy stuff. But lime was my go-to, and then fresas con crema is one of my huge favorite snacks that we serve and that they served. My son loves that snack too. He loves fresas con crema. But yeah, that was one of the main inspirations. You know, we'd go and it was just so unique, and it was just so honest work. It was very pure. That was one of the things that definitely caught my eye too when I was younger. It wasn't like, you know, restaurants, you have to deal with a lot of different parts, different parts. And I was like, you know what? I want it just to be simple, less stress. You know, business is always going to be stressful, but the Jefe Paletas has honestly been a huge blessing, for sure, a huge blessing. But yeah, that's where the inspiration came from.
That's cool. Yeah, you've certainly created one of the most unique places in Mobile in my mind. Well, what sets you apart though from other dessert shops?
Well, first and foremost, we have over 40 flavors of popsicles, and we make them all in house. We make our own ice creams too. We do a bunch of different street snacks. We do, the most interesting one is probably chicharrón preparado, which is a fried wheat chip. People think it's actually like a fried pork skin because it's chicharrón. Chicharrón is translated into like it's I think it's fried pork skin. That's what it is. But for some reason in Mexico they still call it chicharrón even though it's a fried wheat chip. It's a yellow stale, like before you fry it, it's a yellow stale chip, and all you do is throw it in the fryer and it expands and it puffs up, and it puffs up in seconds. Like, it's super quick to cook. And then all we do is put sour cream on it. We put diced cabbage. We put pickled pork skin, which throws people off. And then we put pico de gallo, salt, lime juice, queso fresco. We put hot sauce on it, and then we put sliced avocado and sour cream on top. Most people that get it, it's like 50-50. Most people that get it, they do get it without the pickled pork skin because the texture is what definitely like throws you off. But I mean, I always tell people the snacks that we serve, they're essentially like, people in Mexico, they survive off this stuff. So that you have a street vendor that'll think of anything just to survive. Like the another snack that we have is Dorilocos. Like, I'm sure someone was like, I'm gonna get a bag of Doritos and just stuff it with stuff on top. It's cheap. You know, most of the stuff they try to get cheap stuff, which is like, you know, any kind of produce, anything that's like, you know, tomatoes, cilantro, onions, you know, cheap. Nothing. You're not going to put like steak on it. Now, when you start doing that, I mean, you can, but I mean, it gets a little expensive. So these people are just trying to make it. So they're like, oh, we're just going to open up a little stand and either sell fruit or sell these snacks. And that's how all that stuff came to be. And it just started saturating the market because people started seeing that, oh, this is actually pretty cool. And that's another reason we put it on there. I mean, another thing we serve is the corn esquite, which is just a corn cup. We put salt, lime, mayonnaise, queso fresco, sour cream, Valentina hot sauce, and our house chili powder that we make in-house. That's super popular too. What else? We do make crepes. I think we're the only place that makes crepes that I know of, besides IHOP. Yeah, we do our crepes. We do what else? We do this. It's called a croissant ice cream sandwich, which is really, really cool. That's just 2 scoops of ice cream. We put some whipped cream, strawberries, we put chocolate syrup on top, and then we put some nuts on top, and then we just make it into a sandwich. It's really, really neat.
That's cool. Yeah, 40 flavors. That's 40 flavors. Paletas.
40 flavors of paletas, and there's been a lot of hit or miss. Like, I think one of the ones that when we first opened, I remember we tried to do as many Mexican flavors as we could, like just target originally like the Michoacanas, but we started seeing that, you know, the American palate wasn't used to this stuff, so we was like, okay, we got to cater to them. So we started bringing out, well, first the flavors that we did have that I don't have anymore. We did one that was pine nuts. We did one that was with it was a chile guajillo, which is, I don't know if you know what the guajillo pepper is. It's essentially, I might be wrong. I'm sure whoever's listening to this, they'll probably be like, no, that's not the right chili pepper. It's either the serrano pepper or the jalapeno pepper. It's basically just dried out. So they just dry it out, and you could use it to color stuff. It gives it a light smoky flavor. But we made it with that chili pepper. We did that, and that one tastes like I think it's chai tea. That's what it tastes like. We did one with what is that thing called? It's a green vegetable. Looks like a pear, but it's not a pear. what is it called, man? If I think about it, I'll let you know. But we did something. It was a green vegetable, and I can't even think of it in Spanish. Is it? I can't think of it in Spanish, but I know it tastes like matcha.
Okay.
It was not matcha, but it tastes like matcha. We did. What other ones did we do that didn't sell at all either? I mean, they sold, but it was mostly to the clientele that knew what it was.
Right.
You know. There was another one that was called nanche, which is I think it's called it's a yellow cherry, but it tastes a lot like licorice. To me, it tastes like a lot like licorice. But that's something that's hugely popular in South Central and South America and in more deep southern parts of Mexico.
Uh-huh.
And that one sold a lot to like those to like the Honduran people, the Salvadoreños, the Guatemalans, and the Mexicans. But for some reason, people thought it tasted. I didn't like it. I didn't like the licorice flavor, but people were like, "Oh, I love it." And I was like, "No." And we stopped selling that one. And we did stick with like the other ones, like coconut arroz con leche, which is a huge. Like I feel like if you go to any like place that's like similar to us as a paleteria, the arroz con leche is always going to be there. That's like a staple. That's like you having vanilla and chocolate ice cream in an ice cream place. That's like you have to have it. You know, it's essentially just like it's a Mexican cinnamon rice pudding, essentially. But that one's extremely good. My son loves that one too. My wife loves that one. One of the more unique ones I have is probably the queso fresco cajeta, which is essentially it's a vanilla-based popsicle. But what we do is we blend queso fresco in it, put a little salt. We don't have to add any sugar to it. And what we do with these is this one's a filled popsicle. So we make the void in the popsicle, and then we fill it up with caramel. It's cajeta, but the cajeta that we use is actually made from goat's milk. So it tastes way different from your normal caramel. And that one's really popular too because you get like that salty sweet, and then you get that caramel. When you bite into it, you get to the middle to it, and it bleeds. It bleeds out the caramel, and people really enjoy that one. We have another one. It's the banana Nutella. That one's really popular. We have another one that's filled too. It's the strawberry condensed milk. I think I brought you one too. So
okay, all right, nice.
I think I brought you the queso fresco one too, and I think arroz con leche. But the strawberry condensed milk one is really, really cool too. It's just a water-based popsicle and has condensed milk in it. The coffee caramel, and then we have the Mexican cinnamon chocolate with Nutella filling.
Okay.
Too.
What would you say is the most popular flavor among all your customers?
Oreo.
Oreo.
Oreo is. I make that one a ton of times. That one, Oreo, strawberry cream, and then the coconut.
Yeah.
For sure. And I mean Oreo for obvious reasons. I mean, I always tell people our best customers are children. They love that stuff. They see Oreo and their eyes glow up, and they're like, "Let me get that one."
So what's the process like? How do you make them with real Oreos? Like talk about some of the process.
So the Oreo, the way we make it is we have a vanilla based cream that we get, and we basically just crunch up Oreos in the mix, and we just mix it. It's super simple. In the molds, we put slices of cookies in there with the face facing towards so the customer will see it's an Oreo cookie. That's probably one of the simpler ones we make. The most complicated ones are the filled ones. Like the one with the queso fresco, it's just a vanilla base. We put queso fresco in it, we blend it. We put a little salt. We freeze them. The interesting thing with the filled ones is that we have this little I think it's like a customizable thing that the gentleman that sold me all the machines they're dedicated to this stuff. They try to make so many things, and this thing is super efficient because it's essentially it looks like it has spikes on it, and it's 26 of them, and you put them in the molds, and then you pour the mixture in. So you freeze it into the machine, and then you just pop those things out, and the void's there. So that's what makes it more complicated because you got to wait for that. You got to time it perfectly because if you don't, it'll freeze really hard, and it'll be really hard to take those things out. And but yeah, those are usually the more difficult ones, but they're not. They're more like time consuming. It's not. Sure. It's nothing hard. One of the most interesting ones that I've made is maple bacon popsicle. I'm going to try to bring it back. I haven't brought it back, but it's really good. The inspiration off of that one was the maple bacon donut. I love that donut.
Yeah,
that donut, I love that stuff, man. I love that one. Which other one is the queso fresco one? That one came from my mom used to make us tortillas, and she would put caramel on the tortillas, and we'd put queso fresco on it, and that's where that came from.
Really?
And I remember I used to love that. I used to love it, and that's where that came from. Which other one? I know we do the mango tahini chamoy one, which is essentially just blended mango with sugar. I mean, we don't use any kind of artificial flavors. Everything's as fresh as can be. There's some fruit that I can't find here that I have to use pulp, but I mean, it's no. I'm not putting like artificial flavors or anything like that in it. It's just the pulp, like the passion fruit one. Which other one? Guanabana, which is soursop. Which other one do we serve that I use pulp in? There's another one. Oh, there was one that I stopped doing. It's called Lulu, but that one tastes like a pineapple and a kiwi mixed together. It's super refreshing. But those are normally the only ones that I use pulp with. The other ones, it's all fresh fruit, as fresh as I can get it. And but yeah, I mean that's the process isn't crazy hard. I always tell people, I mean, if you're familiar with the kitchen, and especially if you've bartended, like it's just essentially mixing drinks and freezing them, you know. So I mean, it's nothing like crazy. I've seen like chefs, like dessert chefs, do some really incredible things with popsicles where they like do reductions. They do like pan sauces with them and stuff like that. But sometimes I don't have time to do that. Yeah. I definitely don't have to. I mean, one day, and I told my wife, he's like, I have to do something that's like that sticks out. But I really want to do research on it. I really want to make a popsicle that's like, wow, this is a pretty unique popsicle. And it's. I have a picture of this black popsicle with like gold dust on it. And everyone asks me, he's like, when are you going to make that one? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when. But yeah.
Yeah, you got 40 flavors on it. So yeah,
40
that's
flavors.
Keeping you busy.
It definitely does.
What do you source any of your ingredients locally here?
The only place that I probably go to locally, and it sounds dumb, it's Walmart. You know, that's most of the time where I get my strawberries, I get all my melons, I get cantaloupes, watermelons, pineapples. That's where I go. I mean, I don't go anywhere. So, you know, as a small business, you have to save every penny. You have to be smart with what you spend. But there is another place. They're out of Atlanta. They're called Aleva Grocery. But they're essentially like a Sam's. They're huge. But they source out all like those little tamarind sticks. I'm not sure if they're straws, but they have candy around them. That's where I get all the candies from. That's where I get all the Mexican toppings from. I get that's where I get my mangoes from, because they're huge, they're fat. They're not like the ones you see in Walmart or like in the other stores. They're like a little tinier, but these are massive. I think they get them from like Mexico, Peru, and Brazil. That's where I've seen them come from. That's where I get most of my like authentic. Like I get squirts there. That soda, the what's it called? It's a grapefruit soda. I get squirts there. I get my tahini from there. I get my chamoy from there. I get like all the unique stuff that you probably couldn't find here.
Right.
There are Mexican stores that sell it, but most of the time I get it from them because, you know, they're wholesale. They're going to be a little reasonable with the prices and stuff like that. So
I want to talk about your mangonadas. I mean, I feel like that's probably you know, when I see people that go there and they're posting pictures, that seems like that's one of the most popular things. And
for sure.
What's kind of the inspiration behind that?
So the mangonada, I mean, that's a staple that's in every. Like I said, like the arroz con leche popsicle, it's the same thing with the mangonada. The mangonada is, if you go to any of those stores, they'll always serve those things. So essentially, it's the mango sorbet. I'm sure the inspiration for it is just it's mango is such a popular fruit in Mexico. It's insane. Like I remember when I was younger, when we go to Mexico, there was this little kid that would ride a bike, and he had a little basket on the front of his bike, and he would cut as many mangoes as he could, slice them up, and he'd have them in little bags, and he'd have lime, salt, and then this chili powder. And he'd come by and he would, I think they were like 5 pesos is like, I think right now it's like 25 cents.
Really?
25 cents a bag. And he's like, oh, you want salt, lime, and chili? Yeah. He'd prep them, squeeze, do everything, and you'd have a little bag and eat it. And I guess like the inspiration is because mango's so popular in Mexico that they were like, let's freeze it and let's put chamoy over it and let's put tahini over it. Chamoy is actually it's really relatively really easy to make. It's from apricots. I know I read some of the story of it. I think it's an apricot that came from China, and Mexican, like us as Mexicans, they started. I'm not sure if they started to pickle them. I don't think they pickled them. They would I guess they would give them to ferment, and then they blend it, and then they put Mexican spices in it, and that's where it came from. You know, that's where chamoy is from. I know when I remember in my parents' place, I made this chamoy buffalo sauce that was amazing. It was apricot preserves. It was the chile guajillo, salt, lime. What else did I put in it? And I think honey.
What'd you put that on?
I put it on chicken wings.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I haven't made it in a long time, but I know it was really good. And I remember I used to we actually tried to do it on my parents' menu at one time, but people didn't know what chamoy was, and for us to like explain it to them, they still wouldn't get it. But I mean, those wings were really, really good. I think I'm gonna try to make them again one day. But yeah, I mean, the inspiration from that is just it's super popular. It's extremely popular. But the chamoy and the tajin with the mango, it blends very well.
Yeah.
I always tell my employees that you can ruin a snack with chamoy and tajin if you put way too much in it, because chamoy is extremely rich. It's extremely rich. The way if people know what tajin is, the way I describe it is essentially it's a syrup version of what tajin is. But yeah, you can definitely ruin a snack with chamoy if you put way too much in it. It's like if you would put a bunch of chocolate on ice cream, like a ton of it. It's just too much. It's too rich. But yeah, that one's easily that mangonada is my best seller besides the popsicles. There's another snack that when people come in, I let them taste it, because people come in, they get all excited because it's on TikTok, it's on Instagram, it's everywhere. So people get really, really excited when they see that we sell mangonadas, but they've never tasted it in their whole life. So I'm like, you know what? Let me let you taste it.
That's a good idea,
because it could out of 10 people, maybe one person might not like it. They're just like, it's not my cup of tea, and it's understandable. I mean, it's as soon as you taste it, it's a bunch of flavors that explode. You get salty, you get spicy, you get tart, you get bitter, you get sour. You get a bunch of flavors at once. So it's like, man, where's this coming from?
It's like once you try it,
you'll definitely it'll definitely explode. The flavors will explode in your mouth. But I always let them taste it. And I just put a little bit of chamoy, a little bit of tajin on a spoon with the scoop of the mango, and they taste it. And most of the time, thank God, most of the time people like it. But if someone doesn't like it, another one of my really popular snacks is called the Snow White. It's essentially 4 scoops of any sorbet you want. The classic way to make it, it's a strawberry sorbet. So we put 4 scoops strawberry sorbet. We make this heavy cream in house. It's called crema. We call it sweet cream. Essentially, that's what it's, crema dulce. But we put we drizzle it over the sorbet. We put granola. We put slices of strawberry on top and whipped cream. I've never had anyone say it's not good. Like, even the ones that's the alternative besides the mangonada. So if someone doesn't like anything spicy, the Snow White is my go-to. It's like, okay, you want to taste this, and like, oh my God, this is so much better. Because that one is sweet. It's very it's like when you eat it, for me it's like it's like that comfortable taste. It's like, it's not too sweet. It's very like. It's very on the palate. It's extremely like smooth, and it's just very. It reminds me of my childhood, honestly, because when I was a kid, I loved it derives from the fresas con crema, the strawberries and cream. But what I did was like, why don't I just put sorbet on it? And that's where the Snow White came from. But yeah, those are my two like sorbet snacks I sell a lot of those.
Yeah.
A lot of that. Yeah.
So I want to talk about some of the challenges that you faced when you were opening. So you opened right around the pandemic, right?
In 2021.
Okay. So what were some what were some of the challenges you faced when you first started opening?
So the biggest challenge was, it was mostly our fault, because when we came into the business, we essentially we assumed a lot of things. We assumed a lot of things because I was in the restaurant business, and I remember my parents would always open restaurants, and they would never really have to deal with like permits or anything like that. And we assumed we could do whatever we wanted, So we went into this building, and it was basically a blank canvas. Like, it was a lot of open space, and and like, you imagine everything. Like, I was imagining, okay, this is where this drain's gonna go, this is where this is gonna go, this is where this is gonna go, and we did a lot of things without permitting. And that was our slip up. That was a huge our slip up, because we assumed a lot of things, because we didn't think, for some reason, we needed permits, because I guess I didn't know that side of how the city worked, because my parents, like I said, they would open restaurants and they were already ready. Like, they didn't have to get a new occupancy permit, nothing like that. But we did, and that was something. I remember when we were like ready, we went to the health department. We're trying to open this up. This isn't okay. They were like, okay, so get us a drawing of what you're gonna do, of where you're gonna put each thing and everything. And I was like, okay, cool. So I went with an architect, Robert Martin, which is an amazing architect. He's so cool. He helped me a lot. He helped me a lot. And I remember he came in and he was like, all right, came in, did all the drawings. He told me what basically, like by law, where everything needed to go. And then one of the biggest issues was the bathroom, because the bathroom that building had was really tiny. And he's like, oh, you got to make this, I think it's for wheelchairs compliant. And I was like, okay, that's fine. We'll do it. And, he was like, okay, but I got to get some people from the city to come look at it and this and that. And I was like, okay, cool. That's fine. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, that's cool. The sooner the better we open this place up. I assumed in my head is like, oh, we just need the drawings, take it to the health department and we're good to go. They're going to come and do the health inspection and we'll be good. That was not the case. That was in 2009. That was in 2020.
Okay.
So it took us 15 months to open.
Man.
And that was our fault, though. We could open quicker if we would have done it correctly. So when Robert came with the city inspectors, they saw that we did a lot of work without permitting. So that's when the law came down on me, and they're like, hey, look, you got to do this all over. So I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, you didn't permit plumbing, you didn't permit this. And it was most of it was plumbing. It was plumbing. Most of it was all plumbing. And we had to do everything over. So we had to reinvest more money, which is, you live and you learn. Like,
Sure.
I always think, guys, like, well, thank you that it happened to me. It was hard. It was very, very hard. But, I mean, I learned. Now I would never do that again. I'll definitely do what's right. But, yeah, that was one of the things. The pandemic, the only thing that probably stalled us was because not a lot of city workers were working. So that was one of the harder things. But, honestly, it took us longer to open because it was our fault. Like, we assumed a lot of things. We didn't do stuff correctly. We try to cut corners, and it wasn't, you got to be honest, and thank God we were able to make amends with the city. We did everything correctly, and everything was good, but that was probably the hardest thing, paying rent for our landlord is amazing. His name's David Lord. He definitely cut us some slack. He helped us with a lot of things, a lot of stuff that, like, I think he helped us with the bathroom. He helped us with the dumpster pad. He helped us with a lot of stuff. David Lord is a blessing. I feel like landlords like him are not very common,
right?
Because he's local. He's a really cool guy. He owns A&A Vacuum. Really, really cool guy. Really honest dude. He definitely. I remember when I first met him. He's like, look, I'm not trying to get rich. I just like helping people, And he said he liked my story. He liked what I was trying to bring. And he was like, man, as soon as I saw you and heard what you were doing, I wanted you in my space. So, I mean, it's really, really cool.
Well, the community has definitely responded, I think, in a positive way to you.
Yeah.
What are some good stories that you've had, like good feedback from some of your customers?
Oh, man.
That's memorable to you.
Most, honestly, the feedback that I love the most is our service. The service to the customers. I mean, like, if you go on Yelp, if you go on Facebook, if you go on Google, like, most of the time, you get your customers that are a little bit more picky than others, but most of them is our service is really good. We try to definitely display a good environment. It's one of the things that I love to display most is a family environment. I don't have like any kind of like vulgar music playing, nothing. It's very, very, very family oriented. I wanted to keep it, a place I got like. I want my business to honor God first and foremost. So. That's one of the things that if I'm going to say I'm going to honor God, I got to honor him fully. If in my home, the privacy of my home and in my business. So I know that if I honor God, everyone that comes in is always going to have a good taste to the place. They're always going to want to come back. They're always going to want to be there. But honestly, the feedback has been awesome. People, especially with the popsicles, they're like, man, this is so unique. You got so many flavors, and they come in and they're always like, their eyes are open all wide, and it's very overwhelming for them. But they like it because it's so different, And that's one of the things that I've noticed, that people like it because it's so different and have so many flavors, and they're like, oh, this is a good problem to have, But yeah, most of the people is because of all the flavors that we have, the service that we provide. And, the different unique snacks. I've had people come in and they're like, okay, I'm going to try this today. I'm going to try this today. I'm going to try this today. And there's people that truly branch out. And then there's people that when they branch out, they're like, maybe this snack is all right. Because I think it's mostly because of that pickled pork skin. But yeah, I mean, honestly, people have received Jefe Paletas in a very special way here in Mobile. I always tell people that I'm always very grateful with our customer base. I mean, like, I know by the grace of God, that place is very popular now. We're very known. We won a nappy last year with the best dessert, which is cool. I never expected that. That was something that was totally from the left field. I was like, man, this is awesome. And this year we were nominated again. I'm not sure when they're gonna tell who won or not, but we were nominated for the best ice cream shop, frozen treat shop, and then I think it was for best dessert.
Yeah.
Honestly, Mobile has received us really, really well. I think one of the things that Mobile really likes about us is that we have this little popsicle cart. We have this little authentic Mexican popsicle cart. This cart literally came from Mexico. This cart belonged to one of my uncles. He actually has restaurants in Ohio. I think they're called El Rincon, if I'm not mistaken. And he had a popsicle cart laying in his house, and my parents went to visit him one day, and they were like, "Hey, why don't you use this?" He's like, "I don't need it if you want," because he makes popsicles in his Mexican restaurant, but he doesn't do it like me. He just does a little bit, and he serves it as desserts, But he said, just give it to Fabian, and they gave it to me, and I use it. I wrapped it with our logo. I wrapped it, made it look nice, and everything, and people love that thing. I actually had a lady message me a few minutes ago, asking if it was available. So it's really cool. It's such a cool it's a cool thing to have at parties, because man, this is so cool. It's different. No one has it. No one does it.
Where are some places that you take it?
I take them most of the time. Birthday parties.
Yeah.
Kids love them. Kids love it. Corporate events. I take them to parks. I know I work with the city of Mobile a lot. I did I think we did the anniversary for the Bienville Park. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
I do stuff with any the Latin festival that they do that's coming up in October. I do that. Private events, any kind of private event. I know we've done a baby shower. We've done a prom. We did a prom I think it was in Lewisville, Mississippi, which was really neat. We do a bunch of schools. Schools love us. It's really simple, because it's just, I make the popsicles. I fill it up. It fills up to, I want to say 300 or 350 popsicles.
Oh, wow.
So it fills up a lot. It fills up a lot. And the cool thing about that is that if it's not too hot, it'll hold them frozen for about good 8 to 10 hours.
Okay.
If it's hot, it'll hold them for about 8 hours, but they're still frozen. Frozen solid. It's not electrical. It has 3 little compartments. They're these galvanized steel things, square compartments that are filled with glycol and water. So I just put them in the freezer. They freeze up to, I think, -0 and below 0. Sorry, and I just put them in there, and it keeps them popsicles frozen. I remember the first time I used it, I was like, man, I don't know if this is gonna hold. So I bought dry ice, because I was freaking out. I was like, man, I don't know if this is gonna hold. But then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start trying it without it, and it works. It works, and it's so cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I wouldn't have thought that. I was thinking dry ice.
Yeah, it's those containers. They have glycol and they have water, and you just freeze them, and they stay frozen for a long time.
That's
for
cool.
A very, very long time.
What would you say your future plans are? If you look 5 years down the road, maybe 10 years, what would you say?
5 years, definitely. I definitely want to have another location. We're still in the beginning stages. We just bought out our partner out of the business, which was a huge blessing. So that was something we had to, it was a hefty price, but thank God it was a huge blessing. We're super grateful to God that door was able to be open, and now it's just us. It's just me and my wife and my 2 sons, and definitely I've always I believe in generational. I want Jefe Paletas to be something generational. Hopefully one of my sons will take over it. But in the near future, I definitely want to open another one.
Yeah.
Not sure where. I've looked in the Sims, I looked in the Saraland, I've looked in downtown Mobile or Midtown around there. I've looked in the Spanish Fort, Daphne, Fairhope area. So we're definitely in prayer, because that's a huge deal, because that's a huge investment. I feel like anywhere I put it, God's gonna honor us for sure, and I feel like we'll do really well. But yeah, that's definitely something I want to do. And then I'll actually want to get one of those Sprinter vans and do a mobile Jefe Paletas. That's definitely something I've been looking into. It's either one of those. It's either the mobile van, or it's either going to be the brick and mortar location for sure. For sure.
That's cool. Well, you got some good ideas for sure.
Yeah.
Man, it's really, really cool. I've really enjoyed it, especially hearing, just seeing your parents have built such a following of La Casina.
Yeah.
And now seeing the following that you're building too, man, that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I knew it was going to be something unique to Mobile, and I'm glad. I'm just grateful to God that he chose me to do it, and thank God it's been a huge blessing for sure.
Awesome. Well, the next segment of our podcast is called Meat and Three. So we've gotten into the meat of the podcast already. Now I've got 3 questions that I want to ask.
All right.
And so what's your personal favorite popsicle flavor?
The strawberry cheesecake.
Okay.
Yep, strawberry cheesecake. I know it's simple. I know it's like it's nothing like super unique, but man, I love that strawberry cheesecake popsicle.
That's a good one. Okay.
Yeah.
What's some of your favorite restaurants in town? Like you and your wife, any places that y'all go that you enjoy?
Yeah, we love Noja. I love Noja. Noja's a really good spot. Which other place? We love Felix's is really, really good. Which other spot? Dumbwaiter. Haven't been there in a while, but I love Dumbwaiter. Dumbwaiter was really, really good. Which other place? La Cocina. We love La Cocina.
What's the best dishes you need to get there?
La Cocina, the burrito tapatio.
What's the dishes that your family's known for there?
The burrito tapatio, the torta tambiqueña. Which other? The tacos are good. I love the cow tongue tacos. This is amazing tacos. Yeah, I love the way they make them. Which other stuff? My wife loves the tacos with chorizo and steak and grilled onions.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's really, really good. The nachos La Cocina. I know I used to chow down on those all the time. I always tell my wife I miss working there because every day I'd cook something up and I'd eat it. Oof. Now I don't do that because I'm at the popsicle shop. I don't go there. We still go there, but I don't. I can't go in the kitchen anymore. Like I still can, but I don't do it as often as I used to. But yeah, I definitely miss La Cocina because when I'd go there, I'd chow down on everything, man, everything. Yeah, but yeah, La Cocina is one of our favorite restaurants. Which other restaurant?
Well, that was my third question. Was like, I know you got probably a lot of relations in the Mexican and Hispanic community. Like, what's some other places that are doing like really good, authentic Mexican food that people should go to?
Which other places? I know El Rincon. I think that's over there past Tillman's Corner. I think it's over there by Tillman's Corner. There's a Mariachi. I know Ricardo. He's a good guy. Which other place? El Giro. That's my parents. That's my dad's first restaurant.
Yeah, Westmobile. Yeah,
Westmobile. And I think from like authentic stands, San Jose, La Taqueria San Jose. That one is on Tillman's Corner. That's a pretty good spot if you really want like the authentic feel. Yeah, that's probably one of the closest ones. And La Cocina. I feel like my parents have done a really good job trying to display the authentic stuff in La Cocina. But yeah, those are the places. Yeah.
I guess you've learned well, kind of how to balance. Like you mentioned earlier, trying to balance the Mexican, authentic Mexican dishes with the American palate, or maybe even the South Alabama palate, which may be a little different than the American palate. But I think that's really cool to kind of see how y'all have, weaved all that together and tried things and say, hey, it didn't work, but There's
this popsicle I do want to try. There's this I don't know if you probably are familiar with this, but or I don't know if it's a South Alabama thing, but Coke with peanuts.
Yeah.
So I was like, I might do that one day,
Man,
just to. I mean, have you ever had them?
No, I have, but not in a popsicle.
Yeah, but I mean, is it good? Is it what is it?
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's good.
Okay, gotcha. Because I know. I've heard a lot of. Oh, it's so good. It's so
I think
delicious.
It's just a Southern thing.
Yeah.
But,
fair enough. I might. I don't
know. I think if you try something like that, it might get a little.
Yeah.
It might be Instagram popular for
sure. For sure. But yeah, I'm still doing a lot of. I do a lot of research on what I'm gonna make, how I'm gonna make it, if it's definitely gonna sell or not, But yeah, like I said, there's been a lot of hit or misses with the popsicles. But the popsicles I have now, I mean, they definitely sell. They sell really well.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes I take one out to put a new one in. But right now with this season, it's extremely hard because I'm always busy.
Right.
I'm always busy. So this
is not research and development season right now.
Research and development is during like winter.
Yeah.
Like winter, and we do stuff for winter. We do like the crepes helped us a lot. I try to stock Mexican sweetbread. We bought an espresso machine, so I try to do a lot of stuff with like, not just like your normal coffee. Like I do this horchata latte, which is I'm not sure if you're familiar with horchata is. Because we have aguas frescas. Aguas frescas are essentially they're like refreshers, but we make them in house. So like horchata is probably our most popular. It's essentially just what we do is soak white rice with water, a cinnamon stick. We soak it in a blender for like, I don't know, maybe like 45 minutes. We let it soften up. We blend it. We strain it. We put condensed milk, evaporated milk, sugar, some vanilla, and then we put and then we put cream in it, and then we put water in it, and then and that's horchata. But man, there's different ways to make horchata. There's pecan horchata, there's strawberry horchata, I've heard of cantaloupe horchata, I've heard of mango horchata. So it's like the sky's the limit with horchata. And we serve agua de frutas. Right now we have 6 flavors. We have horchata, we have agua de frutas, we have coconut water, which is really, really good. We have mango cantaloupe, we have cucumber lime chia, and we have watermelon. And then sometimes we throw in a hibiscus tea, which is a Jamaica. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that is extremely popular. Hibiscus, the hibiscus flower with the drink itself is really, really good.
What about during Mardi Gras? You do anything during Mardi Gras? Are you king cake or anything like that?
One time I tried to do. I was actually trying to team up with what's that business? I think it's called. Is it Licking Good Donuts?
Yeah.
Are they the ones that make that donut, the king cake donut?
That may be Sugar Rush.
Sugar Rush, that's the one. It's not Licking Good. It's Sugar Rush. Sugar Rush is that's the place I go to for donuts too. They're really good. And I tried to message them, but I think they're really busy during that time. Sure. So I was like, I wanted to make like an ice cream or a popsicle. So I tried to do that, but it just didn't work out. I didn't want to just get a generic king cake, and because I wanted to taste, because I recently had my first king cake, and it was good. Okay. It was good. I've lived in Mobile for 32 years, but I never had one. And people are like, "Why you never had one?" It's like, and that's when people started recommending me everywhere. But yeah, it's good. It's good. And I definitely wanted to do that. Definitely want to do something with king cake, with popsicle and ice cream for sure. Because I know it's local. It's something that'll definitely attract people.
Maybe we can make some connections and
for sure.
And get you some good king cake,
yeah,
some good fresh king cake.
For sure.
And try that this year.
Yeah, for sure.
My next segment of the podcast called Fork in the Road. This is where I talk about something new that's coming to Mobile. And for this week, I wanted to talk about the Parc La Trelure, which is the new food hall that's coming downtown Mobile. It's owned by Panini Pete and the Panini Pete hospitality team. So him and his team, they're opening up a food hall downtown. If you're familiar with the old Moon Pie store in downtown Mobile, in the RSA Trustmark building, that's where that food hall is going to be, right across from the Battle House. But it's going to have Panini Pete's, Mobtown Slice, Astronaut Chicken, and Taco Hermanos is going to be located in there. So I went in there a couple of weeks ago and kind of got a little sneak peek at what's gonna look like. So I was excited to kind of share what I found. And when you walk right into the place there, you're going to have the bar that's going to be right there on the right. So I think certainly during Mardi Gras that line will be probably pretty long, I'm sure, right
that's
there.
But
right there on the parade route. But lots of good seating, and saw lots of plugs. They got a counter along the wall that overlooks Royal Street right there. So I think that'll be a good little place to go and get some lunch and probably still do a little work during the day. I was talking to Pete and Nick about some of the food and stuff, and they even had a pizza that was there for me, and well, not for me, but I took my kids in there with me because it's summer and kids are kind of following Dad around right now,
Sure.
So but they had a pizza that was out. I got to try the 3-cheese pizza from Mobtown Slice, and the kids got some of the pepperoni, and I gotta say it was really, really good.
Nice.
And so the pizza is going to be really, really solid there. Of course, Panini Pete did have a little pizza concept over in Fairhope, and so he's certainly not new to making pizza, and so that's gonna be good. The Panini Pizza is, I think, probably going to be the most popular thing that people are going to be excited about is the return of Panini Pete's downtown. It's going to be not the full menu that you'll find at Panini Pete's like the one in Fairhope, but they are going to have their sandwiches, and of course, the most popular sandwiches there, and the mozzarella and cheese, and the smoked turkey, all the popular ones. So that's going to be good. I know they're still kind of working on, the chicken and maybe how it's going to be different than probably what you'll find around the corner at Squid Ink. But and the tacos, I'm sure the tacos are going to be good. I know Nick DeMario had a little taco place down in Gulf Shores for a little while, so that research and development's not going to be new to him.
Sweet.
There. But it was cool, man. They got a really cool. They got a large gift shop space, and had a lot of sauces and rubs from some of Pete's people that he worked with the mess lords and some other celebrity chefs and stuff. So just kind of looking around the event space, it looks like a really cool Mobile spot too. So it's gonna be cool. It's a great location. I'm excited about that little spot.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
So that's the fork in the road segment this week. My next segment of the podcast is called Chris's Dishes, and that's where I talk about the best dish that I've had lately. And if you've got a dish you've had lately, you think about, I'll turn it over to you. But mine is we went to Nino's Pizza a couple weeks ago. So out there in West Mobile, Hillcrest Road, right there, Hillcrest and Greenlight, and that's been. I think Nino's is probably one of the best pizza places in Mobile.
I know that's a
Nino's.
huge debate.
I know it is. I'll put Nino's right up there at the top. I've been in there before and got the pepperoni, and that's kind of like if I'm trying out pizza place for the first time, I'm just going to go ahead and just get the pepperoni, right? You know what I mean? Just kind of get. Let's see if you can't mess up the pepperoni.
Stay classic, right?
It's kind of like what Dave Portnoy does. He goes in, he just gets the cheese pizza.
Yep, that's true.
I'll do the pepperoni though, but this time we went in and we got I took the kids in, so we split we got the Nino's pizza, which was kind of their take on like a Supreme. So pepperoni and sausage, mushrooms, onions, black olives, mozzarella cheese. Man, it was really good. We split that. I kind of got a half Nino's pizza and then half cheese for the kids.
Oof,
and kids loved it.
That sounds really good.
We started off with garlic knots. Those were really solid too.
Oh, man.
But, my kids are more like, all right, Papa John's or, like kind of some of the – we don't really branch out too much when it comes to pizza. So they were kind of skeptical on me, which, they should know better than be skeptical on their dad.
That's right.
When I'm taking them somewhere, I'm like, look, you got to trust me, okay? But I think I won them over with Nino's for sure.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think Nino's definitely – I remember had a friend that would always bring us I think it was the Stromboli. But it was.
I really wanted. I was checking that out.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was the. I think it was the steak. It was like the Philly steak cheesesteak or Stromboli. But it was it's good.
I gotta try that.
It's good. It's really good. Probably one of my favorite dishes recently I tasted. We went to Felix's and we had. It was. I think it's not on even their menu. It's called the Bienville something dish, man. It had. I think they had. I don't know if it was cod over it. It had some. It had cod. It had these little little. I think it was called grits disc. I don't know what they were called, but those things were amazing. It had this sauce over it.
A grit cake?
It was a grit cake. And it was so good, man. I was like, man, I've never had a grit cake in my life. It was good. And I know I enjoyed that. Yeah, it's definitely, that was really, really good. That's something recently I had that was extremely good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, Fabian, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
No, thank you for having me.
It's been so cool.
Thank you for having me. It's a blessing.
I really admire what you're doing.
Oh, no, man. It's all by the grace of God. I always tell people he's the one that gave me the inspiration. He gave me the will and the desire to do it, and I just pray and hope that I'll be able to keep doing this for generations to come. And
absolutely, I think he'll see you through too.
Yeah, I think so, man. I hope so, and I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and I pray that God keeps blessing you with a lot more invitees. The Bienville Bites gets bigger and bigger, and that you keep doing what you're doing, man.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all for listening to the Port City Plate podcast. I always appreciate. When I meet people out and about too. I went to Foosackly's in Saraland and ran into Corey, who was working there at Foosackly's, and he told me he was a big fan of the podcast. So it's always cool to
awesome.
Run into people who are listening to the podcast out there. And so appreciate people like Corey listening and definitely giving that feedback. That they're enjoying these episodes and coming up on episode number 50 too. So super excited to keep sharing these stories and keep connecting people here to the food scene in Mobile. So appreciate y'all listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you so much. God bless you.